What do you think of Whoopi Goldberg saying it's worse to be a black person in America today than a woman in...
It's important we remember there are places much darker than this country and people who deserve rights.
Not everybody feels that way. Not everybody feels that way. Listen, I'm sorry. You know, when you think about the fact that we got the vote in 1965.
Okay, they don't have free and fair elections in Iran. It's not even the same universe.
Great first step toward getting the Democrats back to sanity, and a second good step would be we got to do something about The View.
The long-running tension between BillMaher and Whoopi Goldberg doesn't appear to be ending anytime soon. What started years ago has now turned into another intense public clash, and this latest exchange is getting a lot of attention. Maher took direct shots at Goldberg in comments that left viewers stunned. Stay tuned, because we're breaking down everything that was said.
What do you think of Whoopi Goldberg saying it's worse to be a black person in America today than a woman in Iran? You know, I see we were talking about the trans issue before, and the New York Times really has come over on that to the sort of the sensible, liberal, not crazy woke position. I think this is a great first step toward getting the Democrats back to sanity, and a second good step would be we got to do something about The View. I really believe that. I mean, could you just
it's huge in Iran, though.
Bill, you know, when I mentioned The View in Iran, all with the same head cover, can't even tell which one is which.
Maher wasted no time making his position clear, even suggesting that The View should no longer remain on air. The controversy centered around comments from Whoopi Goldberg, who argued that black Americans face conditions worse than women living under Iran's restrictive system. That statement immediately sparked backlash. Critics pointed out that in Iran, women face severe limitations on daily freedoms, including strict dress code enforcement and restrictions tied to male authority. Human rights organizations have repeatedly condemned those conditions. Because of that, many people felt Goldberg's comparison crossed a line and unfairly compared very different forms of suffering.
They don't adhere to basic human rights.
Listen, here's the thing. Let's not do that, because if we start with that, we have been known in this country to tie gay folks to the car.
Where the Iranian regime is 2 days, 2025 is nothing compared to the United
black people. So
it is not even the same. I couldn't step during this.
Wait. That's not what you mean to say. It is the same.
Yes, Whoopi thinks it's the same. She thinks America and Iran are the same.
Those remarks from Whoopi Goldberg quickly became another major talking point in her ongoing clash with Maher. Critics argued that comparing the experiences of black Americans to the conditions faced by women under Iran's religious government created a deeply controversial debate. For many observers, the bigger issue is the repeated tendency in political discussions to weigh completely different hardships against each other as though they can be measured the same way. Opponents of that approach say that when those comparisons are questioned, the conversation often shifts away from the original point instead of directly addressing the criticism. It's a pattern that has drawn increasing pushback from people across multiple political viewpoints.
If you challenge the brutal regime, Whoopi thinks that's pretty much how black folks are treated in America. You absolute disgrace of a human being, Whoopi, to show absolutely no regard for the Iranian women who risk their lives to challenge the Islamist government, to minimize their struggle and compare it to your fevered dreams about oppression in America.
To be fair, many people acknowledge that black Americans still face serious social and economic challenges, and those issues remain part of an ongoing national conversation. However, critics of Goldberg's comments argue that the comparison she made does not hold up when looking at the realities in Iran. In the United States, black Americans are able to own businesses, vote, hold public office, build careers, and pursue personal goals despite existing inequalities. Women living under Iran's government face legal restrictions that affect daily life, including rules tied to clothing, travel, and personal independence, with punishments enforced by the state. Because of that distinction, many viewers felt the two situations should not have been placed side by side in the same way.
I think it's important we remember there are places much darker than this country and people who deserve rights.
Not everybody feels that way. Not everybody feels that way. Listen, I'm sorry. You know, when you think about the fact that we got the vote in 1965.
Okay, they don't have free and fair elections in Iran. It's not even the same universe. They can't go out of their house. The women.
You know what? There's no way I can make you understand.
Let me try something. It's like try to reverse roles with a black person in this country, let's say, because I think that's what you're talking about.
Yes.
Just try to understand from their point of view. From that point of view, this country does not do them well. Does not go.
Comments like these are a big reason. Maher has continued criticizing The View and the discussions happening on the program. While America's history of racial discrimination, including the denial of voting rights to black citizens before the civil rights era, is well documented and important to recognize, critics argue that the comparison being made ignored a major difference. They point out that women in Iran are currently living under laws that restrict personal freedoms and punish opposition in real time. For many observers, that separates historical injustice from an active human rights issue happening today. Some viewers were especially surprised that longtime television figures, such as Whoopi Goldberg and Maher, appeared to overlook that distinction despite their large public platforms.
Yes, thanks, Joy. Black folks in America have it as bad as the people in Iran. Thanks for that, Joy Behar, you simpleton clown. Did you know people in Iran can be arrested, tortured, and executed for peacefully protesting against the government?
Critics of Goldberg and the panel argue that these kinds of comparisons are driven more by political messaging than by meaningful discussion. According to that viewpoint, the conversation often shifts toward criticism of the country's leadership, rather than focusing directly on solutions to real issues affecting Black Americans. Some commentators believe the debate becomes overly partisan, especially when social struggles are repeatedly tied to attacks on a particular administration. They argue that using serious community concerns as part of broader political battles risks turning genuine problems into political talking points instead of encouraging productive conversation.
Of any matters of politics or what's right or wrong, the one thing I know for sure about America is this. It's run by mean girls. Mean girls in the press and in politics and in life. And when they smell blood in the water, the lust to finish off a vulnerable person will never be denied.
Many political analysts argue that outspoken media figures such as Whoopi Goldberg have become closely associated with the modern progressive movement, and critics believe that approach has pushed away moderate and independent voters. According to that perspective, many former supporters are not rejecting progressive ideas entirely, but are growing frustrated with messaging they see as overly confrontational and disconnected from everyday issues. Some commentators have pointed to this divide as one of several factors that hurt Democrats during the 2024 election cycle. They also warn that if party leadership fails to broaden its appeal and reduce internal ideological tension, similar political setbacks could continue in future elections.
View is a particularly weird place to do a cancellation.
It's called The View?
It's called The View. It's not called The Facts.
Yeah, but isn't it interesting that it's called, I mean, I don't think they meant this when Barbara Walters invented it a long time ago, but it's The View.
Well,
that's the problem in America.
There
is one view,
right, and
one
that's clearly
true opinion, and everybody else can go sit in the corner.
Critics of The View often point to moments like this as evidence that the program no longer encourages a broad range of opinions, despite its title suggesting open discussion from multiple perspectives. During the debate, Alyssa Farah Griffin tried to draw a distinction between the conditions faced by women in Iran and the experiences of Black Americans in the United States. However, according to viewers who criticized the segment, her point was quickly rejected rather than fully discussed. For those critics, the exchange reflected a larger concern about the show's direction. They argue that what was once promoted as a platform for differing viewpoints now feels far less open to disagreement or nuanced debate.
Don't want your pity. And Black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class? I mean, you know, again, I got my popcorn. I don't know why people did what they did. I see all these reasons, and so, okay. Time will tell, but what do y'all think?
I just, you know, I know that as a country, it's very difficult for people to believe that racism and misogyny, they're just alive and well. I think that we don't want to think that about ourselves, our neighbors, our friends.
Many voters viewed Kamala Harris as a symbol of a political style they had grown frustrated with, despite her background as a prosecutor and years in national politics. Critics argued that during her time as vice president, she struggled to establish a strong public presence or deliver major accomplishments that resonated with the public. Her handling of issues related to the southern border became a major point of political criticism, with opponents calling the administration's response ineffective. At the same time, some voters felt her public appearances often lacked direct and clear communication, which fueled ongoing scrutiny from political commentators. Questions about limited unscripted media appearances also became part of the broader criticism surrounding her leadership style. By election time, many analysts believed those concerns had significantly shaped public opinion at the ballot box.
To speak truth to power, and we always should, but you have completely lost the ability to speak truth to bullshit. Democratic polling firm Blueprint told Democrats months ago that black voters, aka their supposedly liberal base, were more likely to find the president too liberal than too conservative. They also found that voters didn't just want Harris to distance herself from Biden, they wanted her to distance herself from what they believe the entire Democratic Party has become, a Portlandia sketch. Yes, there's a lot to not like already about the new regime, but maybe take 1 week to ask what you did wrong. The basis for Democratic campaigns has become, we're the smart people. That we know from the get-go. No need to look into that. We know that a priori, which is a Latin phrase the red hat people wouldn't have a clue about.
Looking at the broader debate, critics argue that programs like The View have contributed to growing political division by favoring emotionally charged commentary over balanced discussion. They believe this approach has not only hurt public conversation, but also weakened trust in the political movement the show often supports. Commentators pointing to moments involving Alyssa Farah Griffin, debates over race, and discussions surrounding global human rights issues say these exchanges reveal a deeper disconnect between media figures and many everyday voters. Some analysts also view Kamala Harris's election loss as part of that larger frustration among the electorate. According to this perspective, future political success may depend on whether party leaders can reconnect with moderate voters and encourage more open discussion rather than ideological conflict. And with that, we wrap up today's video. If you enjoyed the breakdown, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.